houses. Been around for almost 1 year on this community and just excited to talk a little bit to you all about what this is and the passion we all have and why we all come here and what it can do to the metaverse.
Hey guys, it's Bartosz, engineer at STARATLAS.
Michael?
That was the shortest introduction. I was not expecting that. Sorry. Everyone, hey Miami, it's great to be here. Really appreciate what Solana is putting together with the community, with the ecosystem. We at STARATLAS, we've been around with Solana now for a little over a year and a half, and I'm going to tell you, it's really incredible just seeing the growth and expansion, innovation, and community adoption, and just energy that's taking place here. And it's really cool to be here in Miami and participating in this with you all. So yeah, Michael Wagner, I'm co-founder and CEO of Automata. That is the studio that is the principal developer of STARATLAS, and I'm sure we'll get into more of that, but really excited to be talking about the future of a global, borderless, virtual economy inside the metaverse.
Thank you, man. I love this guy here. The energy is just vibing, bro. All right, so we're going to kick off the discussion here what are the building blocks of an open metaverse? Like, what does this mean? What does permissionless, censorship-resistant, open market mean, right? I love maybe if Bartosz, Michael could kick us off with a few comments and thoughts there.
Sure, so for me really one of the key components is really custody. So non-custodial wallets where users really own their keys and are being part of the community, feel the ownership of the NFTs and participate in the community. Like when you are in the community actually owning the assets, the community becomes stronger, and you've seen it with STARATLAS. They have been the first project on Solana to launch the NFTs. Way before you had Metaplex and actual standard. They have been doing great work with Serum and FTX. And these amazing animations. So when you combine all those parts together, you get something beautiful, and I think people collaborate not only in the physical world, but then in the virtual world, and it's really creating the metaverse for me.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I think, so permissionless systems, the concept of permissionless systems came about really with the advent of Bitcoin. So the idea there is how do you eliminate the requirement of human trust when interacting or transacting with another person. So in terms of creating like an open economy that people can participate in a relatively trustless fashion or fully trustless fashion to whatever extent possible, to me, blockchain is a critical component of that system. Getting more into like what we're building in the metaverse, I think having this immersive environment and experience, building in Unreal Engine 5. This is pretty important. Now there's a myriad of ways that you can deliver these environments, and people have different interests in how they want to participate, who they want to interact with. But clearly the three-dimensional space that you're interacting in is pretty critical. The communities within those, and I honestly think one of the most critical aspects, though, is this concept of the DAO, decentralized autonomous organizations. So, this is not only a representation of ownership within a shared vehicle, within a community, but it's also your personal ability to influence the future of the product or community that you're participating in. And this is something that is at the heart of STARATLAS. We have kind of a hierarchy of DAOs throughout our ecosystem that permeate into the gameplay, but also, sit at the highest level, kind of this universal DAO that people can participate in. And our idea is that while we are the principal developer today, the builders of STARATLAS and the evolution of STARATLAS in the future is going to be you all out there. For any of the developers that are in the community, these are opportunities for you guys to interact with us, to build features, build products, build services, and identify your own path to commercialization. So I don't want to make this all about STARATLAS. I mean, we're talking broadly about the metaverse, but again, environments, communities, DAO, and just this idea of a permissionless ecosystem, all critical components of really the future of Web3.
Yeah, by a show of hands, a quick poll across the space here. How many people are part of a DAO? Yeah. You know, the DAO is this permeation, this consistent mycelium that is growing throughout the space of Web3, right? Chico, Avi, you know, I heard rumors at South by Southwest that you know, you've been doing some work with Miami Heat. That there's a DAO out there that wants to potentially buy an NBA team. And Chico, I know that you've been working really heavily at the root, right? You have a good pulse for the community. What are you seeing yourselves that really matters to groups, whether it's a legacy sort of environment like an NBA, or you know, a root movement, like a monkey DAO or something? Yeah.
I'll jump in real quick. I think the core of it is community and a common goal, right? And a DAO is a way to organize yourself around that common mission, that community, and then also be able to do interesting things like governance and economics. That is fundamentally what's bringing together these groups, and from there you can channel that group into whatever you want, whether that is to buy a professional sports team, or you know, I'm also involved in a group called Miami Tech Runs, which is just a group of people playing basketball in interesting places and doing fun things, or whether that is some other, you know, we've actually recently had some conversations with some public works community projects here in Miami that want to potentially organize around DAOs as well, so the members who are going to these parks can also be part of, you know, the ownership and the financial contribution and the usage and access of that public facility.
Yeah, community. Community is what, to be honest, the word that was most repeated on these talks so far. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. All of us here, we have already our own little community. Twitter is our already existing small metaverse, and to be honest, with me, that's what resonates, is the community. At the end of the day, every developer, every product, everything here is just being built for people. It's being built for a community, right? So that's the importance of leveraging the community, leveraging the people who are with you and following what you're doing, following your product, your system. And that's why it's so important, and that's why we see all of these projects just growing based on their followers, based on their community, and that's what we're trying to do here. When we created the first Hacker House back last year in Lisbon, it was what resonated, was like, we wanted to keep doing this because we just saw everybody being pulled out of that tiny world, out of that Twitter, Discord, and just coming together as a whole and joining efforts to do something huge, something big. And that's community. Community is all of us, and community is what's building the future. And I think that's why everybody's here, to get to know people and build something together. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. I mean, you're right. Community is the word that's come up the most on the panel so far, and I just want to, you know, draw a comparison between, if this was Web 2, you're all customers. In Web 3, we are all community. We are the builders, we are the users, we are the owners. That's the difference between what we're doing today, the innovation in this space, and the legacy world of technology. It feels so good to have everyone participate, share in value, and share in building, share in innovation.
I think just one thing to add to that too is ownership, right? You're part of the community, you're part of the ownership, and when you own something, like, you feel more commitment to it, and I think that matters and takes it a lot further.
Totally.
Bartosz, talk to me, my friend. Take us into the future. You have your hands and mind in the technology itself. I'm sure you've hidden some Easter eggs, you know, somewhere, right? Where do you see all of this going? How can engineers get involved today to be a part of tomorrow?
Sure, 100%. So that's why we have the Hacker House there. People are innovating. Ultimately, the reason why we picked this space, like ToeJam, with Jad helping us, and Ilo from Supercars, and Alex from Fun Dimension, is it creates this interesting space where people are stimulated by the environment. You can see what Jad did here with the space. This is very unusual, and I think people, like when they interact with unusual things, they start innovating on the coding side. So how can we build like new contracts that are slightly different? What we are doing with like stealth NFTs, how Sebastian integrated NFTs into DAOs and how we can push that further, or what's happening with Rain, which is like the gaming protocol that some of the teams were building, and we're just waiting, I guess, for the Rain to happen.
Michael, any thoughts there on the future of how engineers and developers and community makers can be a part of tomorrow's Web3?
Well, I mean, look, just get in and start learning for one. I think what's really cool, again, about the communities that are around us, the teams that are building here is, and just kind of the nature of free open source software, which again, my first exposure to free open source software was when I learned about Bitcoin in 2013. I'm not a developer, and probably not the best to recommend where to go, but I mean, just start interacting with people. And everybody's so open and encouraging and welcoming to anybody else who's new in the space. What's really cool is we are, even though we're a little more than a decade into cryptocurrency, we're still such a young form of technology and it's still super early, and people want to bring their friends in. If they identify something as a potential avenue for success, you want to bring your friends along with you, right? And so people are telling people, and these ecosystems continue to grow. So if you're new, or you're interested, the idea is just get out there and start talking to people. That would be my comment.
Okay. So in the last panel I heard, I think someone took a poll of if there's any normies out there, is what they call them. What is the biggest challenge to bring on hundreds of millions, billions of people into Web3 to interact with the products that we're building today? How do you get through that challenge that we can see?
I can summarize it quickly. I think one, you need the product or features that people are interested in. Two, you need the scalable protocol. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And three, you need the on-ramps, right? Once again, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Groups like FTX that are helping on-ramp millions of people every day and like getting exposure out there to the world about what this is and what the benefits are. I don't know if you guys saw the FTX Super Bowl commercial, but that was awesome. You should definitely find it on YouTube and watch it. And then, kind of to Chico's angle, once you get the people in, how do you retain them? That's the important thing. It's one thing to get people in, it's another thing to maintain their interest. So that's just everybody that's on this panel right now is addressing what it takes to get to the next billion users in crypto.
And everyone has to, we got to work together to do all that, right? It's not like any one entity that can make all this happen. All these pieces, on like fiat on-ramps for an exchange, community, blockchain, tools for the metaverse, like all this needs to work together in order to be successful here and get those next billion people on board.
Yes, absolutely.
So let's drop a little bit into deeper. I'm gonna go back to you, Bartosz.
I mean, sure. So for me specifically, when I think what will attract more people, it's really making it easy for anyone to just start. So most people right now interact really with technology from mobile phones, and right now that experience really sucks. And the other thing outside of the mobile phones is like when I think of self-custody, people are afraid of it most of the time. I'm afraid of it. It's easy to lose your seat or get your keys stolen, whatever it means, right? People get hacked all the time, even experienced security researchers. So how do you start preventing that and create a world where the self-custody is still prevalent, but at the same time I can go to my grandma and say, hey, this is how you can use it, and you don't actually need to be worried about it. It's a huge gap right now. I know it's not as sexy as building games or building protocols. Often it's like, how do you start with a wallet and make it easy for an average person to just interact with it? There are solutions like FTX that make it much simpler, but at the same time, I think we need more.
Yeah, as Bartos is saying, I think it's all about like making it easy for everyone, and it also a lot about education and like putting it out there what all of this is and how it can be done for everyone to just tap into this world, and also all of these events, all of these IRL things we're doing help on this transition. People start coming, people start learning, and at the end of the day, it's making it so easy that it's seamless. You don't think now, oh, you want to look for something, it's a no-brainer to go to the internet, to go Google and just do it. Back in the days, it was not like that. And at the end, like the goal is to make blockchain as seamless and as easy as that, just be adopted by everyone. Just be a simple and smooth transition that from my friends to my grandfather, everybody can use it, and it's just good to go.
It's gonna get easier, but the fact that it's still a little bit tough right now just goes to show how early we still are, and that there's still a ton of opportunity to come in and help build these things that do make it easier for the next wave of people to join us.
Yeah. We're gonna shift gears really quickly. The gamer in me wants to talk about economy. I think economy. Yeah, you were gonna say something.
We're actually getting the hook. Just so you know, we have 5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. We'll do 5 minutes on economy real quick, right? Put a little World Economic Forum session here. Economy, right? And how important is that to the metaverse?
Well, it's really a foundational component to the network. So what we're doing, especially if you're trying to build out not just a gaming product, so maybe it makes sense just to kind of quickly define what is the metaverse. I don't think there's any real definitive answer to that question, but my opinion is that it's essentially the future of the internet. Right? Anything that exists on the web today is probably going to be replicated in some format in 3D digital or 3D immersive format via your avatar, right? And so things like games, for example, that's one application. That's the application we're focused on. That's one avenue that people can take. E-commerce, so shopping, right? Let's disrupt Amazon. Let's have you purchase products inside the metaverse, or education, or social experiences, social media, concerts, all of these things. So it's important to get a game economy right as a starting point, but typically those are kind of walled gardens, closed-off economies that don't intersect with anything. In our case, building the metaverse and being crypto native with crypto native assets embedded into the game, it means that we immediately transcend the game environment, right? And you actually interact with this alternative financial ecosystem that exists out there, the crypto world. Crypto assets earned in our game transcend that, and then they're tradable immediately, which means for us, when we're trying to design an economy, we have to treat it like a nation state, the way a government or a country runs their own economy. We need to analyze these types of metrics and assess things like foreign exchange and GDP and unemployment rates even, because labor markets will fully exist here. So I could probably run on and on, but knowing that we're getting short here, I mean, those are core components. It's a foundational pillar to what we do.
Let's do last remarks, everyone. Really quickly, Bartos.
Sure, so the economies are very interesting, especially once you start thinking how different assets are like how people interact with different assets. So when you think in terms of like ships that are potentially expensive and people like create a DAO to start renting it that they acquire, or when they start acquiring resources on the land on the planet that they can mine. Some of those interactions are very interesting, and they overlap with like normal games where previously people were locked into specific environment, and right now that experience can transcend across multiple games. So imagine like the DAO acquired a ship in STARATLAS, but then because the engine for that gaming is open source, someone said, okay, the ship in STARATLAS visualization could look like a spaceship, but maybe someone created an experience when it looks like a sailship. And the DAO still owns it, and they interact with it slightly differently in a different game environment. It creates certain challenges for the game designers in terms of how to balance it, but it creates this open environment where the game builders now know total addressable market of the users that potentially can interact with the game, because the marketplace is open.
So there's interoperability of assets, but then also kind of composability and extensibility, even of the underlying economies. These are all complex systems to build. Maybe you don't want to develop out your own token economy and game economy. You can kind of incorporate another project's economy directly into your game, and we anticipate people doing that with STARATLAS.
I tried my best not to get technical, but you know, we kind of have to a little bit. All right, we're gonna wrap things up. One of my favorite quotes, you know, if you don't feel like you fit in this world, just know that you are here to create a new one, okay? So here's to building the open metaverse, everyone. Cheers. Thank you guys.